Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul with Watching Weather 1, and I'm going to go over some brief stuff today. I'm in the North Georgia region, so I'm going to be covering this region mostly today because we have a very large storm system moving through. This is June 24th, 2020, and this is at about 4:21 p.m., and this is what we're looking at right now. What I'm going to be doing is going through a couple of websites because I know when it comes to severe weather, a lot of people, when they look at radars and they look at data and things like that, they don't really know exactly what they're looking at. It's a lot of technical mumbo jumbo and things like that, and a lot of people don't understand really what is going to be going on in their area, besides watching the Weather Channel and the news stations, which are very, very good, very, very accurate. But this is, some things that you can do at home, that you can look at home to kind of figure out, what to prepare for, essentially, you know what I mean? So you can kind of get a generalized idea of what is coming your way as far as weather. So the first site that I'm starting out with is, excuse me, of course, the Weather Channel and their live active weather radar. And you can find this on just weather.com, and it'll be Weather Radar Interactive. This is an interactive radar map. If you just, like me, I just put in Weather Radar Atlanta. So if you just put Weather Radar in your area, this will come up through the Weather Channel, and you can look it up that way. Yeah, just simple Google search. On the side here is kind of like a tool tab here, and I have all of these selected so that you can see all the active warnings that are active, and going on right now currently in the southeast with this system. So, and then you can actually put your zip code in, and it marks your location like I have done here in North Georgia. So these are all severe thunderstorm warnings and things like that, and you can click on them and you can see the reports on it, the counties that are going to be included, and their storm reports on it. And today, obviously, is most of you have been watching the Weather Channel and the weather reports and everything. They're very concerned with this, system here. This is what they're primarily watching because ahead of this storm, you're going to get a lot of damaging winds. You have the potential chance for some spin-ups and some, brief tornadoes and things like that. Torrential rainfall. So this is what we're looking at today, and you can see the warnings here. This storm system here has been blowing through southern Mississippi, Alabama. It's been producing a lot of tornado warnings, and mostly severe thunderstorm warnings. I don't think it has a whole lot of tornado history, but there is the chance for some supercells and mesocyclones in that. So we're, the weather is, the Weather Channel is actually looking at that quite a bit and trying to keep you updated on all the reports and the warnings and things like that. Please, guys, everybody don't ignore the weather warnings. I know out west and everything like that, some people ignore the warnings because they're like, well, I don't see a tornado, so it's not that bad. But don't ignore the warnings. I mean, they put them up there for a reason, to keep people safe, to give you enough warning to get to a safe place. Make sure that your family is protected and safe, you know what I mean? So, just you got to kind of be aware of what's going on. All right, so that's one site that you can look at to see what's going on, and has all the warnings and everything. You can see the live active radar. All these radars, they update about every 15 minutes, so they'll update automatically. You don't have to refresh the page unless you're sitting on this one for a while. Then it'll make you refresh it, but you know what I mean. But that's about it. This is the only one. All right, moving over, I'm going to bring you to tornadohq.com. This will show you all the active warnings all over the country. And same thing with the Weather Channel here. You can zoom out and you can see what's going on in every state, all over the country, regardless of what area that you're in. So this is updated from the Storm Prediction Center and everything like that. And on tornadohq.com, it'll show you all the warnings that are in effect. Obviously, this is all tornado warnings from earlier today. Some of them, 3 of them are still active. They're right here. So warning started, and it tells you the times of when they started and when they expire or they're extended. So, you know what I mean? It'll let you know. And it updates, like I said, updates every 15 minutes. About an hour ago, this one started. 10 minutes ago, warning end. You know what I mean? Or 40 minutes ago, or, whatever. And so they might extend it 11 minutes ago. You know what I mean? So anyways, when you click on this at the top, it tells you which states that are included in all of these weather warnings. Tornado HQ, 15 active severe weather warnings. You can click on this. It'll bring up a different tab that looks like this. All right, so this is an interactive map. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, and it regularly updates as the storm moves along. And this will show you every single warning not just tornado warnings. They'll show you all the warnings that are in effect right now. So obviously we're seeing a lot of orange that are severe thunderstorm warnings. The purples, the marine, special marine warnings, which you can click on and read about, and they'll have a description in there of what's going on in those areas. And then the red, obviously, in the tornado warning zones. All right, so and this is kind of like a more pixelated kind of radar, which I kind of like, because it shows you, you know what I mean, the brief areas of the storm where it's more intense, or more, more strong, where you're more looking at the extreme side of the storms and everything like that, where the blue and the green is just going to be mostly just rainfall. And in the yellows, you know what I mean, you're going to have some winds and everything like that. And then the reds, obviously, is the worst places where you're going to get the worst weather out of it. So that's a good interactive map to look at. And then you can scroll down, you can see all the warnings here. It has the descriptions in here and everything like that. You can see the same thing, times for the warnings. And it has a legend to tell you what each warning means, each color means, and everything like that, and the zones that they cover. All right. So, moving over, we're going to go to severestudios.com, and I'm sure that a lot of people know about this site because it is pretty popular. And it's popular because live storm chasers a lot of times will put their feeds on here, and you can actually watch their video feeds when they're chasing storms. And it does coverage for the entire country, no matter where storm chasers are. A lot of the chasers out west and everything, they like to travel from state to state chasing these systems to try to, you know what I mean, update the weather stations, get the footage and everything so that you can see what's going on in those areas. So this is the storm chaser map. I primarily use this, like this right here. There's a chaser right here, and he's not live streaming, but he is out there. It'll show you their location, where they are in cooperation with the storm. And it has, all these tabs for information that you can use. I don't really like to use this one for the information, though. I like to go to the dashboard over here, which will, drop down a different page. And to get out of this page, there will be, up where my camera is, right here, my pip is, there's an X, so you can get back to the previous page on the site. But in here, it has the same toolbar over here. So right now I have storm tracks clicked, which will show you moderate rotation, torrential rainfall. It'll show you storm reports that are reported by either weather stations, Storm Prediction Center, or train spotters as well that are out there. If you click on the lightning bolt right here, storm reports, most of the time this is previous reports, storm reports of events that have already happened in the storm as it progresses. So, like right here you see a storm report, and this was a rotating funnel cloud. So he reported this. It'll tell you what time and where it was and everything like that, obviously. And then it'll also show you the active severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings or anything like that that are in effect right now. And they get these updated from the Storm Prediction Center as well. Updates every 15 minutes. As the storm moves, you don't have to refresh the page. The storm will move, you know what I mean, on the radar as it moves, and they'll be following it the whole way. All right, and the last site that I'm going to take you to here is ustornadoes.com, and this is for tracking tornadoes or severe weather in your area. It'll let you know exactly what is going on or what to expect in what areas. This is all of the NOAA data directly from the Storm Prediction Center and everything like that, and they update that same thing about every 15 minutes. It'll update, and you'll see things change, things like that. These maps are interactive, so if you click on them, so you can go directly to the Storm Prediction Center's website, and it'll show you all of the storm reports, you know what I mean, everything that they have, and they update these reports fairly regularly, so throughout the day, you know what I mean, as things change, they'll update it just to keep people as best informed as they possibly can. In these risk zones, it'll show you what areas are going to be affected by their warnings that they issue. So, categorical, this will show you everything that you're looking at, rain, severe weather, winds, everything like that. If you bring your mouse over to this tab here, it says tornado. It'll show you the zones that are more likely for potential tornado activity, and that they update as it changes, which today it's changed once. It hasn't changed so far since then, but this is that storm system that we were watching through today that was bowed, like I showed you, that's moving through Alabama right now, heading up northeast into parts of central Georgia there. And then the wind threat, and you can see that where the way that they marked it out with the wind threat, so you can see the areas that are going to be impacted by that, and of course hail. So, you know, which in those areas where you get a lot of tornadoes in the central part of the country and out west and in Texas and things like that, that's kind of a good thing to look at. So we're going to go back to this page. This shows you the active radar weather map. That's going to have all the current warnings and all the current threat risks and everything in those areas. This map here is going to show you the convection report for tomorrow. So it's going to show you the next day, you know what I mean, of the threat zones that you're looking at based on their prediction of what they currently have right now. Everything on this site, just to let you know, is subject to change. So, you know what I mean, tomorrow when you look at it again, things might change again. You know what I mean? You might see things kind of change or whatever again. So you're going to see that, you know what I mean? Like this area here, they might change it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Based on how they, you know, how their system works with trying to forecast, you know what I mean, the storm. This map here, this is going to show you all the highs, the lows, the cold fronts, the warm fronts, the dry lines obviously marked in the orange dotted lines here, outflow boundaries and things like that. Looks kind of complicated, you know what I mean? But I think that everybody has pretty much seen these before, so they understand it fairly well. Underneath here is descriptions of every single picture and everything like that down here, below this one anyways. And it tells you exactly what you're looking at and what you're looking for in reference to tornadoes or, you know what I mean, severe weather. Down here you're going to see temperatures and wind speeds, wind directions, temperatures all over the country, moisture all over the country, and this is mostly with the rainfall and things like that that you're looking at. Okay, now this here, most people, I've showed this to a lot of people, and they look at this and they just like, you know, a bunch of red lines. It just looks crazy. This is chaotic. I mean, how can you understand any of this, right? So this is called CAPE, okay, and down here at the bottom it abbreviates it for you, convective available potential energy. What this shows you in, you know, in the simplest terms is how unstable the atmosphere is. So with more instability in the atmosphere, that's when you're going to get more severe weather. You know what I mean? That's when you're going to get your tornadoes and things like that, and you know, your severe thunderstorms. All right, so with the numbers that are on here, if you know what I mean, we're looking at like the faded lines here. You know what I mean? It's not really that bad. 100, you know, 200, 150. Those are very low CAPE levels. And then you're looking at like in North Georgia where I'm at, it says 1,000, which isn't bad. Excuse me, it isn't bad, but it isn't great either. So, I mean, it just still leaves the potential for some severe weather and some heavy winds or something like that. You know what I mean? Severe thunderstorms. So it leaves a potential for it, but it isn't bad. You know what I mean? But if you look down here in the Gulf where it says 5,000, now these higher numbers of CAPE and everything like that, that's when you're going to get your, you know, your most severe weather, is because it shows the areas where the atmosphere is most unstable. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. So most of this is staying over the Gulf, and I know, you know, that most tornadoes, when they're already on the ground and they're pretty substantial, you know what I mean, are kind of reading around ballpark 6,000 in CAPE. You know what I mean? So, and you look down here in the Gulf where it says 6,000 in CAPE down here, that's a lot of instability. So that's where you're going to see those areas impacted by severe weather, is when those CAPE levels are very, very high. You know, 1,000. It's a give or take. It really isn't that bad. You could have rain, you could have a severe thunderstorm, or you could just be nothing. You know what I mean? Just a cloudy, kind of, you know, crappy day. So if we scroll down here, this is going to be your bulk wind shear. So what you're looking for here is the solid blue lines, the dark blue lines, and all these numbers are read in knots. So with the light blue lines, like it says 40 here, then it's reading a 40 knot wind shear. Okay, and it shows in these golden symbols here which direction that the wind is actually blowing. So you can see in these, you know, kind of areas here in the northeast, and you know, they got some high wind shear up there. And most of that has to do with the jet that's up there and everything right now, because the jet shifts like that after the springtime. It starts moving north, and then it moves back down south, you know what I mean, going into the next spring. And that's when we get our severe weather down here in the northeast in the springtime, and you know, through the central part of America out west and everything like that. And incorporated with that wind shear, it causes a lot of supercells, mesocyclones, or rotating storms and everything that cause a lot of tornadoes. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. And it'll tell you exactly what you're looking at, you know what I mean, with the wind shear down here in this expression. This is called supercell composite here. So this shows the most potential areas in the country for supercells to form and develop. So, you know, obviously we have this storm system moving through, so this area is going to be higher. a little bit in supercell composite, you know what I mean, in the forming or genesis, genesis of supercells, and possibly some severe thunderstorms. So that's what we're kind of looking at. Once again, expression, and it tells you all about it right here. This is called tornado parameter. So tornadoes kind of usually need a few factors of this instrumentation. It's kind of like a soup mix, you know what I mean? So you need a few ingredients in here to make a tornado for tornadogenesis, you know what I mean? And tornado parameter, supercell composite, high CAPE levels, these are all the things that kind of go into the mix of making a tornado and producing one, you know what I mean? So tornado parameter down here, it's significant, but I have seen it higher, you know what I mean? And when it's very high, like in the springtime, you'll see actual red areas that'll read 1 or higher, and that'll show you, down here in the area, you know what I mean, this expression, down here. But these are not very high tornado parameter levels. I don't think they're pretty average for a storm like this. So I'm not saying that it won't produce tornadoes because of these low levels. I'm saying it is, you know what I mean, you still have that potential threat. It's possible, you know what I mean, for, some tornadoes to spin up and everything like that. Like the Weather Channel said, some brief tornadoes, brief touchdowns, short track, probably lower in the EF scale, but still significant enough to do damage and hurt some people. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what is going on and staying safe, because those winds can get pretty high and do some damage to your home, or trees around your home or anything like that. So that's what you're kind of looking at here. So, and like it'll tell you in the expression, those red levels and everything like that, you know what I mean? Like in the springtime, if you look at this in the springtime during the thunderstorms we have there, when we do get a lot of tornadoes, you'll see those red zones and everything like that that are higher in those levels, and you'll see the difference where it's very high in tornado parameter. Today it's very low, which is, pretty good. EHI, this, you know what I mean, is kind of getting more into the technical side of it, but basically I think it's self-explanatory. These green lines, these orange lines, it's for another video, but these are the higher levels here. That's another part of the soup mix that goes into tornadogenesis. So, that shows you the zones for EHI that are kind of a little bit higher in those levels. LCL height, so this is, the lifting condensation level. Most of the time in the in the black areas with these higher numbers and everything, it's not too bad. It's pretty normal and pretty average. Then when you get into the green lines where you're getting these lower numbers here and everything like that, that's going to be more significant and more identifying for tornadogenesis. So another part of the soup mix. So and this doesn't mean that you're going to have tornadoes if these numbers are low. I'm not trying to freak anybody out. It's nothing like that. It's just with the lower numbers, it's more supportive. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean that you're going to have tornadoes or that you're going to have damaging winds. You know what I mean? It could be a hit or miss. These storms are very, very hard to predict, obviously. Everybody knows that. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of a, back and forth kind of motion there. But this is a tool where you can look at some of the accurate data and everything like that, and you can see, kind of the measurements of what exactly is going on, what possibly to expect and prepare for, along with all these other storm warnings. So if we go back to the weather radar and everything like that, we're looking at it, and so this storm is progressing through Alabama right now. It's going to start lifting a little bit northeast, and it's going to be affecting some of these places in central Georgia where they have marked out with severe thunderstorm warnings. So you want to be ready for that. Pay attention to the warnings. Pay attention to the Weather Channel. Watch the news, on the weather and everything, and let them update you on what is going on. And make sure, see, there you go. So it told me to refresh it because I've been sitting on it too long. So when it idles too long, then it makes you refresh the page because it wants you to have the most updated information. So I'm going to go to this tab here and click all these warnings back on so that we can see if there is anything that has been updated, which you can see the storm progress now as it's moving across to the east. So, and like I said, with these storms, you know what I mean, see how this is, straight and kind of bowed out like this, and it's kind of going down. This is what's going to be most indicative of high winds or strong winds or, some damaging winds. Mostly ahead of this storm, but definitely right on the edge of it, you're going to see some winds coming with you. and that, definitely makes the potential for some brief tornadoes to happen here. It was a very similar kind of thing that happened to us in the spring, around Easter and everything like that. It was a much bigger, much larger, much more dangerous storm system than this is. This isn't really that severe, but it does leave the potential for some damaging winds and some brief tornadoes. So you got to look for that, and just keep an eye on this storm system that's moving through. All right, so that gives you a general. I hope this all gives you guys a general idea of what you're looking for, what you're looking at in all of these storm reports and everything, so that you can kind of better understand what you're looking at, where it's going, and what is going to be affecting your area, so that you can keep your family safe and make sure to prepare for this severe weather moving through. So I hope this helped you guys. You know what I mean? We're looking at the weather for today. This is live weather going on, 6/24/2020. It is 4:42 p.m. right now. So by this, late this evening, you're going to start to see this move through central Georgia. So people in central Georgia, make sure you're staying awake and alert on those weather reports and everything. Make sure that you're updated, and hopefully you all stay safe. Keep your family safe, and hope you tune back. If you like this video, go ahead and like it, subscribe. I'm going to have some more weather reports. I'm going to try to do, active coverage on this all the time as soon as we get some severe weather and everything like that, and try to help update you guys on what is going on in your area to, make sure that you guys stay safe and everything like that. Good recommendations that you can do, or anything that I can do to help you guys. If you have any comments or suggestions or anything like that, leave them in the, under the video here, and I'll make it happen. Whatever you guys want to see. If you have any questions or anything like that. I greatly appreciate you guys joining me, and I hope that you tune back in for some more weather reports coming up, and hope you all stay safe. Have a great night.